Today we're taking a look at the games that are all about getting up close and personal. Here are the 10 best first-person shooters of all time. Number 10, Left 4 Dead 2. Much like its zombie antagonist, many other online co-op shooters have attempted to finish off Left 4 Dead 2, but it keeps coming back year after year, with its player base receding to a healthy 20,000 players most days on Steam. It's not hard to see why. Much like a classic horror film, Left 4 Dead 2 demands 4 players take their time and work together instead of running out guns blazing. The Versus mode, where one team takes the side of the special monsters, helps highlight how well designed the city-spanning stages and systems are. Plus, the Steam version includes all the melee weapons and mechanical enhancements of this sequel back into the stages of the first game as a nice little bonus. Number 9, Titanfall 2. There's a good chance you've heard of this game, but you haven't played it, and that's because Titanfall 2 was considered a commercial bomb within only weeks of it launching in the fall of 2016. At the time, those who played it found this previously online-only franchise's new story mode to be amongst the best first-person shooter campaigns of its generation, comparing some of its level design to the likes of Half-Life and Portal, which was certainly unexpected given Titanfall's reputation of Call of Duty with mechs. And yes, it certainly has the fast-paced shooting of that series while layering on the snappy sci-fi additions. Here's hoping for Titanfall 3. Number 8, Doom. There were certainly games which may have resembled the mechanics of first-person shooters prior to Wolfenstein 3D, but no one delivered on the concept so intentionally as id Software. For their follow-up, Doom dragged players to the gates of hell by way of Mars, tasking players with blasting back the souls of the damned with an ever-growing arsenal of outlandish military weaponry, including the first instance of the BFG. Doom became so connected to the genre, the creation of other similar games came with the pejorative label of a Doom clone. That was until first-person shooter became popularized. That doesn't put it on this list, I don't know what does. Number 7, Halo 2. Leaving behind a legacy of offbeat shooters developed for Apple computers in the 1990s, Bungie Games famously stepped out with its instant classic Halo Combat Evolved. For their controversial follow-up, the series introduced a complex narrative spanning both the forces of Earth and a new story fleshing out the side of the mysterious Covenant. Halo 2 introduced many firsts into the series. It introduced dual-wielding weapons, many still used and beloved stages, and it was the first Halo game to go online with Xbox. Though its cliffhanger ending left some players sour, the journey along the way remains a series highlight. Number 6, Apex Legends. When the aforementioned Titanfall, Titan fell off the sales charts never to be seen again, Respawn Games knew they had to pivot, and thankfully the surging popularity of the Battle Royale genre was there for the taking. At the time, Apex Legends' character-based powers and trio-based squads, as well as its strictly first-person mode, helped it stand out from the bunch. Its free-to-play price tag made it all the easier. Several years from release, Apex Legends remains a surprisingly popular mainstay on consoles and PC, meaning Respawn is probably too busy to make Titanfall 3. Oh well. Number 5, Goldeneye 007. If you take Goldeneye 007 as a modern first-person shooter such as Titanfall or even Halo 2, you'll likely be confused how this game could ever be regarded so highly. But treat it in a similar mindset to Doom or Duke Nukem, except in fully rendered 3D polygons, and you'll have a blast. Goldeneye exploded in popularity on the Nintendo 64, surpassing Nintendo's own franchises, thanks to its objective-based levels, signature Bond aesthetics, and industry-changing multiplayer. GoldenEye 007 remains a much-loved game. Just don't play as Oddjob, okay? Number 4, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Often the greatest criticism lobbied against the Call of Duty franchise is the pure number of titles, some of which don't seem all that different from the year prior. No one could hold that accusation against Modern Warfare in 2007. Transforming the World War II shooter into a globe-spanning conflict of mass destruction may have been an obvious if well-realized direction, but the full revamp of the multiplayer introduced a permanent progress system, allowing for greater access to weapons and perks through experience. It's essentially become the basis for progressive systems for most online games. So even all these years later, it still feels pretty modern. Number 3, Half-Life 2. Unlike the vast majority of this list, Half-Life 2 is not well remembered for its multiplayer. Most don't even remember that it had it. Do you? No, Valve's follow-up to Half-Life is best represented by its tremendously ambitious physical physics-based action and puzzle first-person gameplay, earning it a reputation as having some of the best single stages in all of video games like We Don't Go to Ravenholm, and weapons which recontextualize the environment such as the gravity gun. Half-Life 2 remains well regarded as one of the best examples of storytelling in video games, let alone a first-person perspective, and it can be found for chump change every Steam sale. Number 2, Bioshock Remastered. Bioshock nearly flew under the radar for some players when it launched back in 2007, before word of mouth blossomed into a slew of Game of the Year awards. Bioshock takes players down into the murky ocean depths of the city of Rapture, a place where the human spirit would not be limited by the draconian laws of the 20th century, which probably explains why it immediately turned into a creepy den of psychological breakdowns and unhinged violence. Oops. Now roaming the leaky remains, hiding from the drill-welding Big Daddies, players will use an assortment of wrenches and Tommy guns and some rather unsettling abilities to finish off what remains and kindly clean up the city of Rapture. But for whose benefit? Number 1. CounterStrike Global Offensive. Though not an obvious selection, the more one considers the importance of CounterStrike and the enduring popularity of its latest version, Global Offensive, the more one can see the appeal in this populist choice. CounterStrike perfected the tactical shooter and birthed a significant amount of early internet culture, and Global Offensive refined these systems down to their most approachable rendition yet, without compromising on competitive play. Like all things CounterStrike, its reputation lives on its latest patch, but judging by its daily million-plus players, it's safe to say it's still enjoyed by many to this day. And those are the 10 best first-person shooters of all time. How's your trigger finger? Getting itchy? Well, keep clicking around here on Game Rant. We've got more videos, more features, more lists, so let's see more of you on here.